Hello? Hello? Why did it take my game so long to start? Hi, I'm here. How's it going? Flying bug attack me. Sorry, tactical. Looks like you just need to get good. Carry fly swatter. One of those electric ones. And Fudge, hi Fudge. Welcome in, Fudge. How you doing? Hi. It's freaking Friday. Hi, Breasty. Hello. Hi, how you doing? You're at work? Oh, I'm sorry. I say that because I'm not gonna go to work until next weekend. But how are you? But how's work? Is work going okay? I'm on the screen because I don't know. I kind of just want to get the game in after what happened yesterday. Just kind of like make up the time. I did do a little bit of grinding off stream, about an hour, like I said I would, to max out my chow's levels, which I did. So, I do have, I forget if it was 2 or 3, but I think I have a couple chow that are maxed out from their current levels. So I'm gonna be able to do all of the races and the chow karate hopefully pretty easily. Yeah. Besides that, yeah, well, next week, yeah, I took essentially only 6 days off of work. But because I only work 4 days a week, that ends up equaling out to essentially 2 full weeks of work. You got bit? I'm sorry. Again, give it the flying bug, just get good. Fucking like swat that shit out of the air. Ooh, thank you. Oh yeah, all of the like the head pats and the chin scratches and the boops, they all work now. All of my triggers, channel point triggers should all work now. But yeah, so I was off starting this Monday, like this past Monday when I debuted my outfit, and I'm not gonna go back to work until next Saturday, not tomorrow, next Saturday, which ends up being only 6 days of work, but you know, enough for essentially 2 weeks of vacation. Oops, you forgot. What'd you forget? Anyway, besides that, one thing I need to do, I'll probably do it either tomorrow or Sunday, maybe Monday. I need to go out. You don't see Boo Boo Pet redeemed? I can make one. Not right now, but I can make one. Anyway, yeah, I need to go out a little bit, get some sunlight. Not that I haven't gone out this week, because I've gone out. It's just not long, and I don't want to end up being like a recluse. You go outside, shut the fuck up. Yes, I go outside. I at least go outside to work, which is outside. It's not like in town. I actually have to drive away, so I deal with a lot of sunlight. You know, I like going outside. It does actually refresh you. Like a bunch of people, you know, that know less about how depression works try to tell people that are depressed, go outside. And like legitimately going outside does like affect you. It does help you feel better. It's that vitamin D. No, vitamin C. Sorry. Pretty sure sunlight's vitamin C, not D. You barbecue across the wildlife. That's still outside, right? Like, I would love to stay indoors all day, every day, but I feel like I'd legitimately go insane. Just in the sense of, like, my living space isn't very big. Like, if I lived in my own house, I'd probably be okay with staying indoors, because I could, you know, like, make every room in the house, like, its own little area. So, you're gonna have to try to kiss it. You're gonna fucking die if you do that. They're gonna just ram the shit out of you. Or buck you, whatever it is. But yeah, so I mentioned this on Discord. I'm having a little bit of an internet issue today for some reason, and it doesn't really affect my upload much, but like for some reason my internet speed is like 10% of what it should be. That's even after I've reset it twice today. But it doesn't affect my upload, so like you might see a little bit of a technical hiccup every now and then, just because I think it's my router having an issue. but at the same time, you know, I just have to deal with it. It looks like I'm not losing too much. There's no limit to be naked all the time. Yeah, I mean, you know, get to be naked, you get to do whatever you want. You have like 1,000 gigabytes porn downloading. Usually the problem. I have nothing downloading, and I've never downloaded porn, ever. Back in the day, you didn't have the strong enough internet to download porn, so you were out of luck. You're crazy. What? Like, unless you consider getting Art of My VTuber as porn, like if it's like very suggestive or even naked, then I guess. Hi Ruby. Ah, sorry, I can't scream very loud. I was just saying that my internet's kind of weird today. Hopefully it's fixed tomorrow. I'll probably turn it off for like 10 minutes once I get off stream, just to like give it a clean reset. You don't say fix up on Twitter? I do. That's not considered porn though. Hello? Who's here? Do you guys save porn off of Twitter? Hang on. I gotta turn my captions on like I always do. You guys do that? Okay. More power to you, I guess. Depends on the pick. I guess that's fair, right? You don't take it off Twitter, but you favorite it. I do like a lot of art, whether it's not safe for work, suggestive, or safe for work. I like a lot of stuff. So like my Twitter, if I was to show it, I'd probably get me banned, just because there would be the random like jump scare of a naked woman or a penis or an animation somebody's doing. I'm not ashamed of it at all. To share with the homies. I did that once when I was in college. Not like share porn, but it was like playing chicken, right? So you would send, you send something to your friends that's you think is like crossing a line, then they are like, oh, that's nothing, look at this, and then they send you something back, and then the moment somebody like stops, is like, no, this is too far, they lose. It's a game of internet chicken. It doesn't have to be porn. It could literally be like, you could send, you know, something cringy, like some YouTube poop or something, or you know, porn, or bad porn at that. Like back in the day, you know, the 2 girls 1 cup era, like that kind of bad porn. You could send that. We can look at cock as friends. Exactly. Whoever sends a dead baby or an animal getting real loses, basically. No, they win, because the other person's not going to send anything worse. My Pookie. Hi, Red. Welcome in. By the way, do you guys like the mask on or off? I feel like the outfit's not complete without the mask, like legitimately. Like, I love the black lipstick, legitimately. I love the black lipstick, but I don't know, the veil just adds something to it, you know? Both? It's fair. Both is nice. Anyway, are we ready to game? I think I'm kind of ready to game, honestly. How are you doing though, Red? How's your Friday? But yeah, like, my roommates and I in college would do like online chicken, essentially, as I explained it. Alright. So, start the timer. Pop and chill. Do redeem religion mask temporarily? I could. That's one of the few triggers that actually doesn't mess with my model in any way. Let me start the timer, because even if I have another outfit on, turning the veil on or off doesn't actually turn it on unless the actual outfit's turned on. Alright, so I'm just gonna show you guys what I did. So I added an hour to the stream timer for the game because I did do some offline training. This is gonna be pre and post time skip Luffy. I never watched One Piece, but I know that it's like a meme. So right here, max, you got our max level here for this guy. Stamina is not maxed, by the way, because stamina sucks to level up. Because you can only feed, and when Chow aren't hungry, they're not hungry. This guy, I didn't finish just because, I don't know, I got bored. I got bored literally halfway through. So I got my Hero Chow's done, and I think my Dark Chow is also done down here. Right here, yeah, he's done. See, his stamina is a little bit better off. I want to move a bit. Oh yeah, I forgot. Thank you. So yeah, as I was saying, my guys are just done. My guys are trained. They're all trained up, as far as they'll be. Center it more. Okay. How's that? But yeah, so these are the things that I was using. Perfect. So yeah, so nobody else has really got trained, it's just those guys. Perfect with no T. But yeah, so we're pretty good. Also, Lyra evolved into the Dark Swim that she wanted to be. No other levels happened. Just exactly what you wanted. Anyway, we're just gonna keep playing the game. I'll probably do Chow stuff at the end of the stream. Kind of leave that as like a wind down portion.
Decide which stage to go to.
I think right now we're gonna do Boss Rush, just because this is just gonna be the annoying part. I'm not gonna do all of them. I'll probably just do Hero Dark, and I'll save for all for the next stream. Cause there's a very good chance I don't finish this game today. I could, honestly. I feel like if I game out of my fucking mind, I could probably finish this game today. Also, this boss is a lot easier when you have the bounce bracelet. I missed. Oh yeah, I need to make myself a little bigger. I forget that I do that right now. Bah, 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 bah. Bah. I forgot there's like no Knuckles bosses in this game, or Tails bosses, right? There's 2 Tails bosses, 2 Knuckles bosses. Is that right? Yeah. Because you fight Eggman twice as Tails, you fight the Ghost and then Rouge as Knuckles, and that's it. Every other boss is basically Sonic, in Heroes at least.
I think you're the fake hedgehog around here.
You're comparing yourself to me? Ha, you're not even good enough to be my fake.
There's no time to play games. You won't even get the chance.
Is anybody playing Deltarune right now?
I'm the coolest. Oh, I see. So you're not just a hedgehog. Not bad for an imposter.
Because didn't that come out either yesterday or Wednesday? Also, apparently Star Fox is really good.
Ghost.
Like I've seen people playing it and posting on Twitter that like it might be, you know, it might just be Star Fox 64 all over again, but apparently it's really fucking good. So honestly, I might have to buy it and play it on stream to kind of prove the point, or at least get my own opinion on it. Three hits. Can I do all four? I don't think so, right? Oh, I was close. Actually, I shouldn't have done the 3 hits because that makes this phase a lot more annoying. I think you might be able to technically one cycle him. You can't run too fast because he will actually turn around on you. Fuck! I thought I had it. Go! Got it. Kill him. Wee! Spiral uppercut. Spiral uppercut.
What a hassle.
I should learn how to do this boss faster. Oh, he's gonna do the spin now. Yeah, that sucks. Anytime he does the little shock thing on himself, he ends up doing the spin move. He does the spin cycle. And that just wastes like an extra 5 or 6 seconds of time. Please pull back your teeth. Your plataformas. Guys, can you believe Pride Month's almost over? It's only 4 more days. It's gonna be illegal to be gay in 4 days. Hang on, I need to recenter myself still. That should work. Okay, sorry, I had to do some stuff. Wait, mouse is in the way. Get the mouse out of the way. Get that shit out of the way. Next should be Rouge. Yep, the Rouge, then Eggman, then Shadow.
Long time no see, treasure hunter. Did you find my
God, Rouge is so pretty.
Your emerald. Talking to you is a waste of time.
Would you guys be upset if my next outfit was just Rouge the Bat's outfit?
Very well. If that's how you want to play, I will take it from you.
That's how you do it.
I never lose.
Get away from
I
my
learned.
emerald.
I've learned how to do that strategy now. Let's see if I die to this boss. Here he comes! Got him.
Lose to
Okay. 20 per seconds is honestly pretty average to beat Eggman, because if it takes more than 30 seconds, usually you're fucking dying.
I'll show you the true power of chaos control. This is the ultimate. The
first 2, if not 3 hits of Shadow, you could just spin dash into him. After that, he gets smart and doesn't let you spin dash into him anymore. Did he just say that hurt? Oh, can you do that and just kill him? What? How did I not hit him? Got him. So you can do that. Actually, I had no idea you could spin dash into him. Also, how's the game? How am I sounding? Am I loud? I feel like I'm a little loud, but am I okay? Is it okay? Why does my mic sound so loud? I'm trying to fix it. We'll do these two and then we'll save the all for later.
En route to intercept and destroy.
Copy that. I don't want to die, so I need to get a ring. The enemy is stronger than expected. He's a fucking hedgehog, but I'm dying.
Pathetic humans.
Eggman, you
What?
won't get away with this.
Go!
That was so close.
Oops, Eggman just has bonus health. We shook exactly the same amount of hits. Next is this, and then it's Sonic again.
Can't believe I've come this far.
There's just Flying Dog.
This is Flying Dog headquarters. Intruder found entering security hold.
Did that just say 16,000 pounds each engine? That thing has 3 engines. I realized that like it was saying the specs underneath the name. We're taking heavy damage. Yeah. Yeah.
Not bad, huh? I'm pretty strong, all right.
Also, did you guys realize that Rouge is one of the only characters in this game with actual physics? Like model physics, I mean.
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
I found you, Faker.
Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Ha! You're not even good enough
I'll
to
make
be
you eat
my
those
fake.
words. You can't get
There's
away
only
this
one
time.
real
There's only
Sonic.
one
That's right,
real
because
Sonic.
I ain't Sonic, bitch. Bring it on! She's the one with massive wings, massive ears, and fat fucking tits that they're actually starting to get rid of in modern Sonic. I don't know if you guys have seen her modern designs. Everything is just getting rid of her boobies, her the little back, showing off back that she has in her outfit. Uh oh, gotta run. Oh, that's why. But yeah, I can actually prove it if I take her to the Child Garden. Just walking with her, you see your boobies bounce. You obviously saw in her windscreen that her ears bounce, and obviously her wings. Look at that shit. Did you see that? She just literally bounced in frame standing still.
Long time no see, treasure hunter. Did you find my
That's a
emerald?
good one. Your emerald.
Fucking
How do you
VTuber
use
physics right there.
this
Standing still and your boobs just bounce. Yep.
Hand over those master emeralds. Give them to me.
I need one ring so I don't die. He hit me.
I have no support.
I must protect.
Ooh, I got lucky. He hit me first. That's crazy.
Jewels.
Look at those ears.
What have you done to Sonic? I'll never forgive you for this.
Got him.
So you have power.
Incoming! He hit me? Really? Oh, fuck. I might die here. Yeah, I got fucked. Because he was in a corner. I could not actually dodge him.
What have you done to Sonic? I'll never forgive you for this. Ready to rock on when Tails comes close. Well, then you'll be behind you. So you have power.
Uh-oh. Oh, lucky.
All right, Shadow. Time for me to finish this.
Ba-na-ba-ba. Oh, I didn't want to do that.
Control!
Bonk.
I'll use your chaos control!
Bonk.
Use your chaos control! I'll use your
Oh, that's right. I have no bounce bracelet. You know there's a mod for this game that actually allows you to put on the bounce bracelet.
I'll use your chaos control!
How did that miss him?
Chaos control!
It's actually kind of cool. Oh, you bitch.
I'll use your chaos control!
I wish I could knock him off the stage, but he just does chaos control if he actually falls off. Like that.
Chaos control!
He fell off, but he just did chaos control to save himself. There you go.
I failed. I told you, I'm the ultimate.
There's also kart racing emblems, by the way, but I don't want to do them because I actually want to do kart racing with hidden unlockable carts. So there's that. What do we do next?
Decide which stage to go to.
Honestly, let me do. What did I want to do? I'll do some Tails stuff. I haven't done any Tails missions really, besides I think Eternal Engine's the only one. Hundred rings. I fucking hate 100 rings in mech missions because you're just expected to take damage in these stages. Thought there was two over here. That's Eggman that has two of them. So, you might be wondering why I skipped the checkpoint for a half second. If you pass the checkpoint with 60 rings, they give you a 20 ring bonus. Which allows me to win right there, instead of having to keep going. If you pass it with 50, I think they'll give you a 5 ring bonus. I think it's 40 to 60 is a 5 ring bonus. Maybe a 10? I don't remember.
Decide which stage to go.
All I know is that it's really useful there to skip to get 60 rings. You guys think Tails gets terrified whenever he has to like blow up robots? Cause like if he fucks up, he just fucking gets shot in the head because he has no armor on this thing. Also, guys, if you guys wanted to gift subs for, I think it's for 1 week, there's 35% off 5 packs. Yeah, it was 10. I don't know why they're doing that. I'm assuming as like a 4th of July celebration potentially. So if you ever wanted to support your favorite streamers, go ahead. It's the perfect time. The baby.
I did it!
The baby. We found the baby.
I did it, Sonic!
Exciting? Yes, it is.
Decide which stage to go.
Yeah. Alright, this one's about speed and about points, so I gotta hurry up. Tried to kill that one up there, but I couldn't. No. Ah, I lost out on 200 points there. You know what? Where's Big the Cat on this stage? That's something I actually don't think I know. I don't know if Big the Cat's actually in every stage, but if he is in this stage, I actually don't know where he is. Could be in right now. Like they just put him wherever. Like he doesn't even have to be like on playable terrain. He could just be in the background. Like there's some stages. Oh, I think I know where he is. I think he's in jail. Like in some stages, he's just like peeking out of like some background material. I think in this stage, I think he's actually in one of the jails. Like you know, the hallways we go through, there's actual jail cells there. I think he legitimately could just be like peeking out, like he's in jail. Whatever he did, you know.
Decide which stage to go to.
All right. I have so many stages I really want to do, but I also want to save them for later. You know what? I should do Lost Colony. This stage honestly kind of sucks. This stage is kind of forgettable, honestly. Lost Colony. Like, I don't hate this stage. The stage is just kind of forgettable.
Door is locked. The switch to unlock the door will be around here somewhere.
I thought our bonus rings around here. Never mind. There's something up there that I missed. I hope it's not rings. Oh my god, I just need 3 more. Got it. I was like, if this motherfucker shoots me, I swear to god, I'm gonna rage quit. Now we're good.
Now you know why I am the best.
As for the hidden shell in this area, by the way, ow. It's in that same room that I ended at, by the way.
Decide which stage.
And it's actually kind of evil how it is, because usually the Mystic Melody Shrine is pretty easy to find, depending on the camera angle that you got. But in this stage, it's actually not very easy at all. Oh, there was rings back there. I could have probably finished a little bit earlier. What was up here? Is it rings? It was health, so it doesn't actually matter. Right here. I just want to get shot off, so I gotta pay close attention. I was about to say, please tell me I got the Mystic Melody Shrine. I got a little scared there. This baby is like maximum security, by the way. Space Colony Arc and behind like 3 layers of enemy security.
Decide which stage to go to.
Okay, 330. Oh, you bitch. Oh, says the Eggman. That's who I wanted to kill.
It's useless to run around in circles. Find a way
Ugh.
to the lake.
Go, go, go. Ugh. Got him, got him. Got him. The reason why I wanted to kill those particular robots, they actually give you 500 points instead of 100. For what reason? I don't know. For some reason, the ones that have the like the airplane looking things do actually give you bonus points. Yo, yo. Big the cat's on this stage too, by the way. Look at him. He's busy fishing. I gotta hurry up. What's he expecting to fish there? I don't know. Froggy, I guess? Maybe he saw Froggy going into the Space Colony Arc? I don't know if this is an A rank, by the way. I had to speed up through the end. Maybe? Should be? Oh, yeah.
Now you know
I don't even know what the score requirement is for any of the stages. I just see what I get, and I'm like, oh, that seems close.
Decide which stage to go to.
Might as well do Eternal Engine while I'm here. My favorite stage, man. I love it too. I don't like the Eternal Engine stage. I just love the fucking music. Please break it, thank you. That switch, by the way, does moves in a very particular place on hard mode. I wonder, if I do my speedrun route for this stage, does it actually give me enough points to make up for what I lost? Probably not, honestly. Because I skip out on so many areas that have enemies, I probably don't get a good score if I do that. Yo! You got it. It's right here where is a speedrun skip. You bitch. Oh my god. I have to restart regardless. For some reason... Okay, I know what happened. I shot the dude's bullet, which was moving, and it moved far enough back for my laser blaster's AoE explosion to blow up the floor that I was standing on. Just a series of unfortunate events. That didn't give me any points at all. That kind of sucks. Does this give me anything? It does. Good to know. Should be a 15, not 1,000. Good. Cool. Didn't actually miss out on anything here. Honestly, triggering it probably loses like 2 or 3 seconds of time, but it's whatever. It be what it be. I have to wait here anyway. Wait, maybe I don't. I do not. Hydrate. Maybe in a bit. Hang on. Thank you though, really. Appreciate it. Oh shit. I got fucked by a bug. Let me hydrate. If you guys didn't see what happened, like didn't pay close attention at least, I hit collision that was not there. So I blew up the floor, right? And then when I jumped, I landed on the floor that was blown up. So the floor collision was still there, even though the floor itself was not. Weather still been hot for you? No, not really actually. It's been rather temperate, I guess is the word. I guess mild is probably the best way to put it. Like California summers, right? I expect it to be 100 degrees on the daily. But this whole month it's been like 80s at the most. I'll make that jump. Like it's been legitimately just pretty good weather. Like still a little warm when you're in an enclosed space trying to stream, right? But if you keep like if I was to keep my window open and the door to the living room open to like maximize airflow, like it's legitimately pretty bearable. Yeah, every city, so it's been nicer. But that's fair enough. I think the reason why it's so bearable over here is because we have a pretty consistent breeze pretty much every day. Ah, didn't get the points for that. Should be very careful here that I don't kill myself because I'm blowing up the floor for points. Like there. I'm okay losing time. Oh my god, Tails, you clip down, not up. It's part of the reason why I don't like this stage. There's so many parts where they expect you to float that you just could catch some collision and just fall down. That's a quirk that mech missions have, is if you're like doing the hover and you're against the wall, it like drops you faster than you normally have in terms of like character gravity. That one was unfortunate. Who's trying to attack me there? Prime Doja Cat was so... what the fuck are you talking about? Why are you bringing Doja Cat into this stream? She was a bad bitch on Earth? I have no fucking idea. I never listened to her. I'm still confused as to where that's coming up. I have to wait regardless, so this doesn't matter. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. We're good. Do 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 do. Gotta be very careful here. I don't fucking just kill myself again. Oh, they didn't spawn. They only spawn specifically if you jump. Alright, we're alive. We're past that fucking part. Oh, but careful. Oh my god, you bitch. Just don't shoot, and you can do this, and just skip everything. We're fine, we're fine, we're fine. Oh god, that's bad. Okay, we're good. Getting hit was not the problem, was blowing up the fucking floor was the problem over there. Hey Pookie, why does everybody call me Pookie? Anyway, hi Pecunia. How are you doing though, Pecunia? How was work? I have time. It's surprising hearing that some people legitimately have time with the time limit on this stage. Had a lot of fun. Nice. Ooh. You went just into casino life much? Also, you need a smooch. Mwah. I think this is number 110, but I need to make Double sure. How's your Booba Dragon? Booba Dragon's good. Oh yeah, hit the 110 mark.
Decide which stage to go to.
I should do Cannon's Core. We'll do 280. I'm doing good though. Yeah.
I'm picking up
Dealing with a very minor internet issue today, but it doesn't seem to be affecting my streaming bandwidth at all. Just specifically my download speed. I missed 2 rings. Shouldn't affect anything, because I think you get 100 rings via the balloon, and if you are perfect on this stage. Not this balloon, but the next one.
I must be getting closer.
We're okay. We're okay. Missed 2, missed 3, missed... Okay, so I'll be at 98 still. I would have been done there though. I should still get a rank though. Anybody got plans for their weekend, by the way? Ooh. Happy 111. You got my right? Sorry.
Decide which stage to go.
Ordinarily, I'd say the same, but
I'm picking up
I do not watch Rinian. I will probably not be streaming tomorrow. It is my brother's birthday, and on the weekend usually my nieces and nephews are around. So very likely will not be streaming tomorrow. I'll probably try to stream Sunday night. But we'll see. But I think next week I am going to try to stream every day, like actually stream every day. Until Friday, Friday ends when I go back to work next week. I just realized I'm doing the don't hit cars mission and I'm just like freeballing this shit. I don't know if I'm just more confident on Route 280 than Route 101, but I'm just fucking zooming. This car's gonna hit me if I don't pass him up. I saw that one coming, so I had to slow down. You like it and you want the money? That's fair. Sorry, I looked away. This is bad, this is bad. We're good. I might try to go out next week. Just like, I don't know, look around like cool shops. But there's a mall next to me that has like a lot of really cool shops. Not like chain shops, they're like small individually owned shops. Gotta be very careful here, yep, because this motherfucker is always here. Motherfucker. Focus on my driving. I mean, I can focus on my driving. It's the other fucking drivers that get in my way. That particular part sucks ass because you have to just stop. You cannot just like try to avoid them because they just move like side to side like they did there. I do want to say, oh my god, that guy just killed me, or almost killed me. I do want to say that I really appreciate you guys showing up as much as you have this week. It does mean a lot. Granted, these are my normal stream days, so I kind of expect people to be here a little bit more than like Monday, Tuesday was. I still appreciate it all though. Nope.
Wait a minute. Be quiet. Just leave it to me.
Oh my god, we're good. We're okay. Fuck! He didn't turn wide enough. Brother. Stay in your fucking lanes, brother and sister and people in between that are driving here. Oh my god, my fucking ear touched them. I didn't even know the ear had a hitbox. Alright, fine. I'll take it a little safer here. I think the A rank is just beat the stage too.
I must be getting closer. Oh, let's go. Oh.
Also, there are some times where like the cars in the stage they'll just speed up. So like even if you pass them, they'll just randomly speed up and hit you from behind and you have no idea what the fuck happened. Get out of the way, please. Oh my god. I got lucky there.
Wait a minute.
Alright, here's where I have to take my be patient and not pass anybody here. Oh my god. Fucking Christ, bro. Oh my god, bro. I even slowed down too, and so did they. Good thing is the song is pretty good. It's kind of annoying that it's a relatively short loop, but you know, the song's not bad.
Closer. Oh, let's go.
Get away! Get the fuck away! Oh, I couldn't even get the rings because they were there. Oh my god, I had to slow down there because I think I would have hit them.
Wait a minute. Be quiet. Just leave it to me.
Oh my god, I went through them and didn't hit them. How the fuck? The hitbox must be just in the very center then. I got lucky there. Let's just admit it. I got lucky there. I need to pass him before I go through this corner. You really fucking love you. Do you? Does everybody feel that way? Gotta be very careful here. I have to slow down. Oh my god, I'm just fucked. Like being behind a fucking semi on the road, bro. Like, give me a chance to pass you, bro. Fuck. Alright, cool. We're done at least. I was like, that blue car will disappear. Don't worry about it. Oh my god. Fuck, bro. Go Speed Racer. Yeah. It's the final hours of Prime Day. Isn't there like 3 different fucking Prime Days too? So if you guys are looking to buy things, Prime Day.
Decide which stage to go to.
Oh, this one should be easier. No cars, just don't hit the walls.
Signal from the airboat. Fox boy, wait for me.
Boobies. What about them? This is not Amazon? Oh. Hang on, I can help you with that. Just wait for the stage to be over. Besides, you need to pay for the boobies, don't forget. Like, Amazon doesn't give them out for free. Wait, does Amazon even sell, like, boobies? Whether it's, like, fake plastic ones or anything like that?
Let's go. I must be getting
I'm assuming not, but I think it'd be silly. Careful. Careful, SpongeBob. Careful, SpongeBob. SpongeBob, careful. Here I have to slow down because I will actually hit it even if I'm doing the handbrake turn. I'm not worried about any other turns being too shallow.
Wait a minute. Be quiet.
There's a turn here that's bad. I think it's that one. Maybe it's another one coming down here. Yeah, this one as well is pretty bad. This not hairpin, Z turn's not too bad. I see somebody did a chat up already, my god. Give me a second. I'm paying a lot of close attention right now because I cannot hit the walls or I restart this entire stage. Forgive me, whoever it was. I'm like, I have to concentrate here because these missions suck ass. Like, they're probably two of the most annoying missions in this entire game. The don't hit walls and other cars missions in the Route 101 and Route 280. Don't fuck up right at the end, Rouge. Cool. Hi Hi, Solaris. It was you. Hi. Hello. Hi. Who wanted order? Who ordered a side of boobies? Boobies. Oh, I got on A, by the way. Boobies. There. It's not Amazon, but you know, instant delivery still, just like it was Amazon.
Decide which stage to go to.
Hippie. Hang on. I'm getting real close to the end of these stages. It's kind of crazy. Three minutes. You know what's funny about the fourth mission of White Jungle? The fourth mission of White Jungle is just the first mission, but again. Because the first mission of White Jungle is beat the stage in 8 minutes, and guess what the fourth mission is? Beat the stage in 3 minutes. It's the exact same mission. Obviously 5 minutes in the timer is a big difference, but you know, it's the same mission. Oh, nobody can see my cat ears. I just realized I'm a little too close. That's fine.
Oops.
I don't remember how tight the mission is, the timer is on this mission. I think it should be fine. If I just do my usual route, I think I'll be okay. Run, Shadow! You guys know that technically Shadow's not as fast as Sonic, because he has to use his air shoes to gain speed. Sonic's speed's all natural. Take the cat. Oh my god. Oh my god. Shadow, you almost fucking killed me. I should be okay. This should be an A rank, but maybe not. Is 16 not good enough? Yeah.
Ultimate victory.
Just realized that ears are blocking, or getting blocked by the sticky notes up there.
Decide which stage to go to.
We're getting really close to the end. Boobies! What's up with that, Ruby? Why are you showing boobies on stream? It's a way of life. Oh my god, you are so right. I forgot the quickest way to 100 wings here. Don't you dare kill me. I was like, I don't know if it's worth it to grab those, but I'm grabbing them. Oh, that was actually perfect. That actually worked out perfect. You're crashing and it's only 9:30. You're killing you. It's okay. You work hard.
Now you know why I am the best.
I understand you hate me and you don't want to stay awake late. Need someone to slap me awake? Wah, wah, wah. Titty slap.
Decide which stage.
Where's the Chow in this stage? I actually don't remember. I think I remember where, but it's just a guess. I mean, Pikuni, if you want to stay awake, why don't you go like splash some water on your face? Wouldn't that help you out? You did? What about get a bucket of ice water, dunk your head in there? I believe it's over there that the Chow is at. I'm just grabbing this to protect myself. Try with milk. I feel like milk is the opposite. Doesn't milk put you to sleep, not wake you up? Ice bucket challenge! Do people still do that? Don't drown in milk. Yeah, don't drown in it. Oh, I just realized, I don't think you were supposed to do that. What the fuck did I take damage there? Oh, the fire probably hit me.
Now you know why I am the best.
How the fuck do you do this? Normally. I feel like I remember that you were supposed to do... Like, there's a teleporter with the Mystic Melody.
To go to.
But I forgot. I guess I just skipped it. Also, there's a glitch in this stage to get theoretically infinite points. I'm not gonna use it though, because getting an A rank with that's for cowards. Wait, what am I doing? I just don't want to die. That's the big thing about this stage. Quicksand's instant death. I don't want to fucking die. What the fuck? Why is this stage so fast for me? Does it expect you to not have the jet boosters? Like, actually, does this not expect you to have the jet boosters by now? Please tell me this is an A rank. 25? Sounds right. Yeah.
Now you know why I am the best.
Decide which stage to go to.
I guess we can do Cannon's Core now.
System alert. System alert. The intruder has reached the system area.
Get away, please. One other great thing about Cannon's Core, if you just use these, you get free time to get rings.
Okay. Okay.
The score doesn't matter for this, so I'm just gonna kill these enemies as fast as I can. Shit. I don't want to lose any rings, so I gotta take my time. Also, yes, do not drown in milk. Is it possible to drown in milk? I guess technically, right? It is just a liquid. Dig the cat. I know I missed a ring down there. That should be okay. I think you finished it with the Rouge anyway. Oh, ad break. Okay, now it's Eggman's turn, and please, for the love of God, do not fucking take damage, Eggman. Thank you. The good thing also, these character swaps are basically checkpoints. So if I got hit with Eggman, if I just died, I'll go back to the checkpoint that has the rings. Like this, I'll show you what I mean. Thank you for that artificial chaos giving me a position to fucking actually prove what I'm saying. Oh my god, it still hit me. God, I fucking hate that because it's two of them that take... I could just run through them potentially. But it's two of them that have, like... that take no damage unless I, bait them out. How did that one activate? I'm just gonna run through them next time. I don't think I have to kill them either. I think I could just run through them. If I had a shield, this would be a lot easier. Also, guys, since I mentioned that Twitch is giving discounts on subs, I have to kill them. We are 23 subs away from new emote slot. Wait, do not hit anything. God, how the fuck do I do this better? Who the fuck hit me? Like, actually, which one of those three hit me? Now that just reminds me of the first Rush Hour. Which one of y'all hit me? Me. Okay, that's one. This one should be fine. I can deal with one. I got that money for giving them all of them. Nah, that's fine. I'm just saying. Because we're at our closest point. Oh my god, that one was really close to hitting me. I have to actually wait here to not fucking die. I want to spoil the cutie though. Fair enough. It is the perfect time to spoil a cutie. There's 7 days on it. There's an intern. Shut up. My streams are not a business, so I don't need an intern. 2 more rings, 2 more rings, 2 more rings, 2 more rings. Please, just give me 2 rings. Oh god, careful. Okay, we're good. Whew. Fuck, man. I hate Cannon's Core, man. It's just annoying, like, to not take damage. When the first 2 characters are the characters that you're supposed to take damage on. Cannon's Core Mission 3 is not so bad, though.
System alert. System alert.
Hi. Ray, what the fuck? Hi, hello? Hi, how you doing? First of all, who got subs? I gotta say their names. Thank you very much for the fucking 20 pack. Where'd you come from? Anyway, who got subs? Rin Moko. Oh, Rin. Staring into your soul, I know you. I cannot say the Japanese name. TD Mender. Great Lake Movies, Veneratio Zath, Shycore, I know Shycore, T-Bone Jr., Tank Turtle, Hummin Dude, maybe? 2 Pythagorean, 1 cup, that's kind of funny. The One Wolf Wiener Dog, Wiener Dog, Exploding Goats, nice. Luigi got one, Ishu, Paraloon, Jacob Bots, and Ninja's got TNT. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, it has been a while. How many left? 4. According to my sub tracker, 4, maybe 3. Hang on, let me go to the actual emote tracker. Yeah, 3 is what it says, even though it says 4 on my OBS. Interestingly enough. Anyway, Ray, you have 4 places to play sticky notes if you want. Jacob Watts. Hi, first time chatter. I don't know who you are, but someone get to me a sub. Yeah, they went a little crazy right now. Enjoy your gift sub. Yeah, hopefully you look at the stream if you'd like. If not, I understand. Enjoy the gift sub anyway. Yeah, so I'm doing a subathon, so people that gift 5 subs or more are entitled to a sticky, and you can place it wherever you want. You seem cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Welcome on in. Speaking of subathon, I need to check what goals we got met right now, because you gifted 20 subs. That's 20 fucking points. Where are we at? Luigi! Hi, Luigi! Also, we're instantly at a new record for Hype Train, by the way. I need to pop everything open for my subathon. Give me a second, because I never popped anything up. Because I just forget. I'm an idiot. We are now at order 66. Ray, you are tied with Pecunia for number 1. Coming out, say your outfit's sexy. Thank you. I'm gonna play with the games with friends. Okay, have a good night. Jacob, thanks for stopping by and saying hi at least. Also love the new look. Do you guys want to see the full package? Here you go. Look at it. Also, as people have pointed out, the boobs did get a buff. They didn't actually get bigger. They just got a little bit of a physics buff. Anyway, I need to pop up Photoshop. Anyway, where is it? What have we unlocked? Where's my subathon image? Bam. So we are now at 66 points instead of having 46. And so, hang on. Sorry, some bullshit's happening on my screen right now. I have to fix things because my taskbar is underneath all of my screens. Okay, so we're at 66. We were at 46. So, because of you, Ray, we have unlocked me playing a game in Spanish with as much voice acting as I can handle. I've decided it's probably going to be a Pokemon game, either Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet, one of those two. Oh my god, you guys get to decide on an art commission, by the way. Now we get spicy art. You guys get to decide on. Ruby? What the fuck? Why? For the boobies! Pokemon en Español, yes. There's a little bit of lag happening right now, so sorry if my model looks a little off. That being said, 5 more points. We're now at 71. Thank you, Ruby. I gotta pause the actual timer so I can do this. Cool. Okay. Which means, Ruby, you get another spot to do your stuff. So anyway, we have new emote slots now because of that. We have one new static, one new animated. I will let you guys decide what you want later. Feel free to join my Discord and make decisions there once I make the server. I guess I don't, or the server, that channel. I don't think I need to. I think I already have like an emote ideas place. Maybe we can talk there. Anyway, so we unlocked Spicy Art Commission and we have new emotes. I'll probably make it like a batch of 6 and 1 animated that you guys can decide on. Thought we were at 57. Nope. We are at, and this is 71 subathon points. Subscriber points, we are now at 6, 7. Yes, you heard me right. We are at 6, 7. Let me get some music on since I'm going to be spending a little bit on drawing. You Ruby, that was on purpose. Anyway, so yes, we are at 71 subathon points. You guys get to decide on spicy art, new emotes, and everything else that's in the server. I'll make a spot for the emotes. I'll probably choose a batch of 6 because the artist that I want to get usually does batches of 6, and then 1 animated of your guys' choosing. And that's kind of it. Next up, if we get to 80 points, not like, I don't mind if sub points go down. This is just for the subathon, so we have until next Friday. Next Friday ends the subathon. We have until next Friday to maybe get 28 more points to unlock a Silksong playthrough, a voiced portion of one of my tweets, anything of your guys' choosing, and you guys being in on and deciding the next outfit. Next model outfit is what I'm trying to say. Palms up together. What the fuck? Anyway, let me get some things out of the way right now. This goes away. Photoshop comes on. Ray, if you're still around, what color would you like? Would you like purple? Would you like red? Pink, black? What's up? And also, what name would you like? I know you have a couple of names that you like going for or going with online. Congrats on the subs. Thank you. If we make it to 80 sub points before they go down, we unlock another emote. An emote slot. Is it animated as well or just normal? Let me double check. Yeah, if we get to 80, which is 13 points away, we get one more standard and one more animated emote slot. But anyway, Ray, if you don't have a particular care, I'll use the light ashy purple that you have in your Twitch name. Purple's great. Yeah, that's what I figured because I was like, it's what you have on your Twitch name. Is it do you just like your Twitch name, or would you like something else? Bum bum. Da bum bum. Bum bum. Ooh, what do we got in this hype chest? Oh my god, I fucking got it, guys. Guys, I don't wanna cast a shadow on what we just did because I'm really grateful. I got Gritty Goose. You guys gave me Gritty Goose. Anyway, Ray Weiss. I was just gonna look. I can't do R as well. I just realized. Ray, I'm gonna put your name on two different lines, if that's okay. Okay. And you said you want one on each horn and my shoulders. Thank you. Do you not mind sharing real estate with Red and Pecunia, who've already claimed my horns? Let me give you an upside down heart, a nice butt heart, like I was expecting to give other people. Oh, you should make this a heart too. There we go. Hopefully you like it. If not, I will. I'm not an artist. I mean, I am, but not with mouse. That's what I was trying to say. Do that. Then we have to get it into VTube Studio. Give me a half second. Assets, items. Put it there. We should be good. Let me make sure I load it before I actually get rid of it. Oh, and speaking of Ruby, you also have a spot you could add because you gave another 5 yes subs. Take a spot while I'm putting Ray where they belong. Another on my nose, sure. All right, Ray, you'll go right. You go right there. I don't want to cover the gemstones, so forgive me if you're a little shrank down and lower than potentially normal. Should be readable still. And then my shoulders. Oh, you're gonna be holding hands with Kumo. It's just Spagonia from Sonic, isn't it? One more. I would flip it, but that would also flip the name. And then one on the nose, says Ruby. Whoa! Why is it behind the veil? I don't want to cover the mouth, so I'll do it like here. Yeah, that should work. Is that good? What do you think? There we go, should be good. Then before I forget, I do have an actual item scene for this. I don't want to forget and have these things disappear from their positions. There we go, should be good. What was I doing now? Lost Chow? Yeah, Lost Chow. Anyway, last thing I'll say, thank you guys again very much. It means a lot. I do not think I'm worthy of all these subs, but I'm glad you guys think I am. It means a lot. Anyway, let's get back to the game. Thank you, Ray. I'll send you a message a little later because it's been a while since we talked, so I gotta message you again just to get back to chatting a little bit. Anyway, thank you guys. So now we're 13 sub points from a new emote. You don't have to do it now, please. I don't want you guys just spamming just because I'm saying it. Just saying that's the next goal in terms of whenever, right? Whether the subs drop or not, that's my next goal is 80 for sub slots. Ow. Thank you. You know what? That would be a good emote, no? The Booba Heart emote. Just redone. Anyway, I already have a heart emote and a boob emote, so we're chill. Anyway, if you guys want to give ideas for emotes, I believe in the server should already exist an emote idea section. I forget where. I think it's a little higher. It's next to like the stream link section. Tails have a Mystic Melody Shrine? Or is it Eggman first? I think he does, but I just can't remember. Fuck, I think he... I don't know if he does. I have to look around. I don't remember if it starts with Tails or if it starts with Eggman. I have to pay a little close attention right now. But Cannon Score is one of the few things that I do not have 100% memorized. I have to turn around just to double check. You deserve so much love. Thank you. I don't like. I'm not gonna say I don't think I do. I don't feel like I'm that special, if that makes sense. I don't think Tails does. I think it starts with Eggman. Because I would have seen it by now. Thank you though, guys. I mean, it does mean a lot. It does make me feel like I am bigger than I think I am in terms of, like, you know, a special person. Hang on. I forget where Eggman's is. Oh, I honestly may have to Google this because I do not remember. Is it cute with all the sticky nuts? Yeah, I might have to make them a little bigger. Can you guys read the names all right there? If you guys can, that is not the worst thing ever. That's the whole reason why I made I usually split the names into two halves just to make it easier to write and read it. The thing is, it's here, but I don't remember how to do what I want. Am I missing one with Tails? Fuck, man. You know what? I'm gonna Google this just because I legitimately cannot remember. I just want to make sure I'm not missing something, because I know... Eggman, he has to have a platform there to allow him to go across. But I just do not remember. Oh. I just screwed up, that's all it is. Ow. I didn't miss anything. I'm just gonna die because I can actually complete it as is. Because the answer is Just get more height. Like legitimately, the answer is just get more height. It's really funny. So I was like right that I had to get across there. I always forget how to get across there. That's the big thing.
Great, Eggman. There should be a security door somewhere in this room.
Now you might be wondering, what did that do? Nothing for Eggman. It unlocked the door for Rouge though. And what did this do? Also nothing for Rouge. It's a relay race, don't you know? Also, Big the Cat again. Come on, come on. Please tell me I get control back before the switch ends. No, it doesn't. Damn it, because that switch was in the perfect spot to just keep going. Alright, now. What did the switch do for Knuckles? I think it does it in the main room, if I recall. Yeah. There's a glitch to not even have to do any of this, by the way. It's kind of funny. What did this do for Knuckles? Fucking nothing again. We're not ending this in Knuckles' section of the stage. Oh, ad time. As Jacob Alvarez so aptly put it, we are officially swimming through the Mexico filter from Breaking Bad. Now, I have not seen Breaking Bad fully, so I don't know what this means. I've only seen 4 episodes. I should get back to watching, by the way. Cool. Now, what did this do for Sonic? Nothing yet. You will not see what happens for about 45 seconds. Ow, my rings. I'm stuck. I was literally fucking stuck inside geometry and I couldn't move. Like, actually, it's really funny. I was just trapped inside the geometry. Oh. Damn it. Like, it sucks that I'm dying, but I'm also not losing anything. I'm keeping my rings, my time is staying the same. You wanna know how you're supposed to do this? At least the easy way to do it. Magic hands. I don't like doing that because it's honestly a cheap way to do it. It's the only particular use Magic Hands has in the entire game is here in Cannon's Core. Also, this is what the shrine did for me.
Yes!
I hope this is an A rank. I actually don't remember if there's an A rank or not. Oh yeah.
That was cool!
Oh my god, you know what I just forgot? There's a motherfucking Dokkan Battle producers letter today.
Decide which stage to go to.
I kind of want to watch it, but also I'm streaming, so I don't want to worry about it. I'll watch it later. Probably be spoiled anyway, because they're announcing what the Tanabata character is for the next month in July. In life, they're always about Here's the thing. Originally, it was gonna be a live letter, but there's typhoon warnings in Japan, so they're like, hey, by the way, it's not gonna be a live letter. It's gonna be pre-recorded to for the safety of our fucking crew. And it's like, and it makes sense. So yes, it's all of autumn now. You are correct. The big thing is I just don't want to get spoiled on like Twitter or something, so maybe I'll just watch it like directly after I finish streaming, even before I finish setting up. Like, finish up like ending this, like stream, closing my programs and stuff. As for who the character is gonna be, I don't fucking know. People are thinking it's gonna be a brand new Beast Gohan. If you don't know who Beast Gohan is, he's from Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Because they give you they give people like teasers and stuff, and they just showed off like the entirety of the Dragon Ball Super movies. So they showed off Beerus, they showed off Golden Frieza, they showed off Broly. So people are assuming it's probably gonna be Gohan. Or it could also be it could be Piccolo, but I'm like, I don't think people would be as hyped for a Namekian as they would a Saiyan, right? Because people like Saiyans in Dragon Ball. But anyway, that's the only game that mobile game that I follow these days, so like I am kind of excited about it. I still do Uma, but I don't follow Uma as much as I used to. Like before, I used to like pay attention to their Twitter, where they like would announce when the monthly newsletter where they're like, hey, this is what's coming this month. They could bring back the Xenoverse android. Well, no, it's probably gonna be a movie character specifically. That's why they're not. It might not be Android 21. Sorry, not Android 21. If you're talking about the Xenoverse android, probably Toa. There's a new movie. Is that what Star 4 is? Because I saw them. Because right now they're having a collab with something called Star Horse 4, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Is that a new movie or something? The pink one? What do you mean the pink one? Like Pink Ranger? Shit. How the fuck? Pink one with glasses? I don't know.
Good job, Rouge. Hurry. Throw the switch and drain the liquid.
It might be one that I know, but I don't know. Again, I don't really follow like Uma stuff. I just follow the game. I wish I followed more like anime stuff, but I don't. It just feels like I have no time to watch anime these days. I don't know why. Oh, Xenoverse. Xenoverse. Pink one with glasses. Brown hair. Yeah, that's Android 21. I'd be wondering, how is she an android? I don't know. But she is. Yeah, she has the ability to fuse with Majin Buu DNA. That's how she becomes pink. But no, they already had an Android 21 collab recently, and I don't think they're gonna do it again. Just because they don't usually do multiple characters of like a collab. Usually they do one and then that's it. Also, I saw a gameplay trailer of Xenoverse 3, and honestly, I was not impressed with it. It looks pretty, but I wasn't impressed by it because it looked like it played exactly like Xenoverse 2, just potentially more like smooth because, you know, it's a modern game. I need to be careful here to not die. The only reason why I didn't magic hands there, because if I fall and die, I have to do the entire stage over again because there's no checkpoints. I'll probably still buy Xenoverse 3 because I do remember liking Xenoverse 1 and 2. I just remember not finishing Xenoverse 2 because it's so much fucking content. Like, obviously, I'm not going to complain about a game having a lot of content. I'm just going to complain that I don't have time for it. Please tell me this is an A rank. Thank fuck.
That was cool.
Decide which stage to go to.
Okay. I have a lot of last missions waiting for me. Is we almost done? Kind of. Like, legitimately, the hard mode are not going to be that bad. Like, the Knuckles and Rouge missions, the hard mode, are literally probably going to take me 10 minutes each because of how, not easy, but the fact that they are static. What's going to take time is probably going to be the Cha races. I'm not even gonna lie, because I have to do, I think I do like 60 more races still, even after I did the 15 yesterday for like the beginner races, because I believe there's 25 jewel races. 25? No, 35, sorry. I think there's 35 jewel races, maybe 40. Then there's 4 hero, or sorry, it's either 4 or 8. I think it's 4. 4 hero, 4 dark races, and then there's 16 challenge races. And pretty much every single challenge race and hero race uses the course that you guys saw yesterday, like the extremely long, like 2.5-ish minute course. So that means that there's going to be at least like an hour or 2 of Chow racing to do. And then that's not to mention Chow Karate, which Chow Karate is relatively fast. It's probably like 5 minutes per rank, and there's only 4 ranks. But that's why I'm probably gonna stop at like in like half an hour and do a good like hour of Chow racing, because I guarantee you an hour is probably barely gonna be enough to finish up the jewel races. Please tell me there's an A rank. Thank God.
That was cool.
There's 9, 10, 13. I think there's 13 emblems I get from outside of like character stages.
Intruder alert. Assume level 1 defense formation. Level 1 security door breach.
But yeah, no, like it's really not that bad when you think about it, but obviously, like, you know, Chow racing is a lot slower than like action stages are, so that's why like it feels like it's a lot of shit that I gotta do, because it kind of is, like, relatively.
Security door breach.
Also, did you guys see Big the Cat down there? He was fighting for his life, about to fall to his death.
Level 3 security door breach. Intruder has breached sections 3 through 8. Get him.
I like how at the very end she's like very professional and she's just like, get him.
Level 4 security door breach.
Also, I speed the stage up by about 30 seconds by doing what I did there. And by the way, you can just skip that door too, because it has a little bit of a hiccup when it closes, so you can just walk through it. Yes. Yes. If he was in Japanese, he would go Yosh.
Now you know why I am the best.
Ah. Yosh. But instead, they make him go Yosh.
Decide which
But it still
steps
sounds
to
like
go
Yosh. How do I get 100 rings of weapons bed? I think I know how. The answer is don't kill anything, because it's just a waste of fucking time. Big the Cat! You guys see Big the Cat up there? Look at him. What do you think he's doing? I think he's reading a magazine. Your voice is too comfy for me to fall asleep to it. Aw, Bikini, I understand. Have a good night, okay? Thanks for stopping by. I'm sorry, my voice is putting you to sleep. Why am I so delicious? I don't know. Peaches and cream, baby. I don't fucking know. Cause Latina. I don't know. There's some Latinas that don't have soothing voices. In terms of like they're just always loud, right? It's soothing. Yeah. I forgot to do a split for 120 emblems. Whatever. It's probably off by like 15 minutes.
Decide which stage to go to.
Just like the sound of you a lot. Thank you. Now. What's funny about this particular stage? First of all, I forget where the actual shrine is. I think I know where, but I forget exactly. But if you guys watch the YouTuber Jacob Alfarad, when he 100%ed this game, he glitched his way to get the Lost Chow in this stage. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that it's possible to get the Lost Chow here without the Mystic Melody Shrine. Fuck. Give me good ideas on what game to play in Spanish? Yeah, right now I have the idea I'm just gonna play Pokemon, but it doesn't have any voice acting, right? So it's easy to just voice act it. But what do you have in mind? Where is the shrine? Isn't it here? It's here, right? Isn't it right here? No. I think it's in the next area. Pokemon Infinite Fusion. Oh, okay. Have a good night, Picunia. Did I just miss it? Or I think it's over. I think it is further ahead. Infinite Fusion in Spanish? I don't know. That game's a little long, like legitimately. Does it even have a Spanish language pack? I'm assuming it does, or you wouldn't be offering it. Also, I think the shrine's right here. Yeah. There's a reason why I'm choosing Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet, because it's it actually has, you know, you could choose your language when you boot up the game. Plus, I'm also choosing a game that I've played, so I don't have to miss out on what's going on by, you know, playing it in Spanish and not understanding some words. Right? Because even though I speak Spanish, there are definitely going to be some words that I just don't personally know how to say. Which game have I not played in a while? I could do Sword and Shield. I haven't played that game in a while. Like Scarlet and Violet, I haven't played in a bit, but I am doing the playthrough where I pick my less favorite Pokemon to it, right? So maybe I can make it like a Pokemon theme where I'm playing both Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield's in Spanish, and Scarlet and Violet is that challenge that I made up. That could be fun, actually. Like, legitimately, I think that could be pretty fun, actually. I could also technically do like X and Y or something, but that would require emulation, and I don't know how good 3DS emulation can handle on my computer. Plus, didn't it get recently shut down? So I don't even know how easy it's gonna be to do it. Because I do not have a way to capture a 3DS. And I think language options in Pokemon games wasn't a thing until Gen 6. Sword and Shield seems fun. Yeah. Plus, I will be playing Shield because it's the better game because it has Mommy Melanie in it. Oh shit, I gotta run. Oh, I should make it on time, but I gotta run. There we go. Yes, you guys want to play the one with Melanie? I didn't get Shield because of Melanie. I got Shield just because I wanted Shield. But I ended up picking the better one because it has Melanie and...
I am the best.
Who's the other one that it has? Alistair? Right? It's Melanie and Alistair that it has? Whereas Sword has
Decide which stage
B
to go to.
and... I forget Melanie's son's name. Gordy, yeah. Right, because Alistair and B are opposites, and Melanie and Gordy are opposites in terms of like their gyms are the exact same thing, just textured differently. But yeah, I'll probably do Shield and do it in Spanish. And then bring back Violet and do that shit with the limitation challenge that I was doing. So I think what's gonna end up happening is, I think once I finish this game and the subathon's over, I'll probably go back to Stellar Blade. I'll probably do Stellar Blade and Rhythm Heaven in July, because Rhythm Heaven comes out on Thursday. I might play it Thursday. I'll probably be done with Sonic by the time Rhythm Heaven comes out, so I'll probably focus on Rhythm Heaven. Also, this stage sucks ass for rings because there's literally no rings. Until you just get bombarded with them. You might be wondering, I'm supposed to get 100 rings, aren't I? Yes, I am. How the fuck am I gonna get 100 rings? I can't see. When I only have 30 of it. The answer is, I'm literally gonna finish right now. One fucking ring. I don't think I missed a ring anywhere. Oh my god, where's the one ring that I fucking need, man? If I get a beat because I just missed a ring somewhere, I'm gonna be so upset. Holy shit, there's no rings anywhere. What the fuck? Did I just miss a ring somewhere? Because I'm at the end of the stage now. What the fuck? I missed a ring somewhere. Where? I guess here, theoretically, I missed a singular ring on this this string of them. Is there just rings somewhere that I'm missing? Like actually missing? Nothing in here, right? Yeah, there's nothing in here, so what the fuck am I missing? So yeah, this is honestly a very good chance I finish Sonic next stream. There's a very good chance this ends next stream. In which case, what will I play in the meantime? I just want to play something fun. Like, I like Stellar Blade, but for my subathon, I kind of just want to relax, you know? I don't know. I could start Deltarune actually. But nah. Relaxing is good, yeah. Like, Stellar Blade's fun, but it is a little stressful because I'm not good at games like that. Grab that for the 20, grab this for the 30.
I did it!
Oh, it was only 20, my bad. I'm really glad that I didn't get that thing over there.
I did it, Sonic!
126. Looks like I might end at like 130 before I do some chow racing.
Decide which stage.
Also, if I was optimal in this game, I would have done getting Tails' Mystic Melody on this mission, because Tails' Mystic Melody is on the way to the Lost Chow in this stage. Also, is the game still sound okay? Because it feels like it got louder in my ear. But I also know that Tails' next stages are just really loud. As long as you guys can hear me, it's okay. I can't hear myself. That's why I'm like, you guys hear me? You can hear fine? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Ad break. Go, go, go. Tails' Chow is, I believe, just through this door. Yep. Now, this room sucks. Cause it's all quicksand. And on top of all being quicksand, it features these blocks that fucking rotate. I believe there's only 2 missions in the entire game that feature those kind of blocks.
Decide which stage to go.
Happy 14 hours of Sonic, by the way. Yippee! I mean, honestly, I love Sonic. This has not felt like 14 hours to me. Like, obviously it's been 4 days worth of gameplay, but it doesn't feel like it to me. I genuinely love this game. Also, I love this stage's music because of the bass that kicks in right now. Just listen. underneath the microwave, you heard one of the sickest bass beats on that transition. $10K points. You know what I don't remember? I recently started watching a little bit of old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Duelist Kingdom, Battle City, and I don't know what this arc is called, but the Seal of Orichalcos arc. And I don't remember how often, like I never remembered that they said just points instead of life points. I do not remember them not saying life points. I got no points there because I lost it. Yeah, I was watching some of like the final battles, and it was like, you don't have very many points left, do you?
I did it.
Like Bakura or something. Or I like talking about like Dark Magician, he has 2,500 points. And I'm like, bro, is that what they used to say? I don't remember that. Ooh, that was my shoulder.
Decide which stage to go to.
Okay, are we all done with base stages besides some final missions? I think the answer is yes. Oh, Mission Street. And I think I'm missing City Escape Stage 4 as well. Mission Street Stage 100 Rings actually sucks ass. Because of the amount of times just random ass fucking planes will just shoot you off out of the sky like that, just carpet bomb your ass. I also really like Mission Street's music. This stage just takes a lot of memorization to know when enemies just randomly fall out of the sky to try to kill you. Alright, I'm gonna end up with 99 rings like always. There's gonna be one random plane that tries to shoot me right here. I remember that specific one because that plane's just there to fuck your day up.
I did it, Sonic.
Oh, we're about to be 130 out of 180.
Decide which stage to
Ah, my shoulder. Alright, Lost Child's easy. The Lost Child place has actually been on screen. I don't know if you guys have noticed it. It's a path that is not required to take, but it's actually visible in every playthrough of this stage. Ah, I tried to jump over this. Ugh, excuse me. I could go for the skip that I do when I speedrun this game. It's just too much time to worry about it. If I miss, I just fucking die. Go, go, go! You know, speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't think I ever actually saw the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! So, what I meant by it's visible on every playthrough is it's right there. It's been on screen. Oh my god, there's a fucking fighter plane shooting at me. That doesn't happen very often. You'll get to it? Oh, I'm not actually watching it. I was just watching a couple of the duels. I'm just saying, I saw them fighting like the final Yugi versus Bakura, where it's like if you win, you get your name. If you win, you have to say your name or some shit. And I genuinely don't remember that. I don't remember them going to ancient Egypt.
Which stage to go to.
I legitimately don't remember that. Just watched the final duel. I did watch the final duel between Yugi and the Pharaoh. Honestly, it felt kind of anticlimactic how it ended. Like, personally speaking, it felt a little anticlimactic. Not that it wasn't cool, it was just, it felt a little anticlimactic. Also, when does Yugi learn to summon Haropti? I say this because I watched the death battle between Yugi and Ash, and he just summons Haropti. Is that like some movie bullshit that he does? Might have been manga or cut. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because I watched some guy react to it the first time because I didn't even know that it was like a barely released thing. I thought it was like an older one that he just never watched. But he was like, oh, this duel's fucking over. He summoned Haropti. And so then I looked it up and I was like, who the fuck is Haropti? And it's like, oh, it's the fusion of, well, it's played as the fusion of the Egyptian gods. And you just win the fucking duel by summoning it or something. I forget exactly what it does, but it was kind of funny. Where it was Ash's Solgaleo was actually able to hold Haropti back, and the dude was like, "Nah, I'm throwing the flag. Get the judge in here." I died. How the fuck did I die? I fucking clipped. I clipped through a seam. Like it wasn't like a seam, but like the platform that was rising and falling, it wasn't flush with the pillar that it was on, so I ended up falling through. Oh, it just never got printed. Oh, okay. So I just don't know because I don't really watch or I don't really read manga.
Okay.
That's one thing I wish I could get more into is manga. Not that I don't like reading, I don't know. Feels like there's too many hoops to read manga. Maybe not these days, but back in the day there was. Okay, okay. Okay. Which reminds me of fucking Donkey Kong 64, just less manly. Just okay. Whereas Grant Kirkwood goes, okay. I see why this thing wasn't flush, because it's not angled inward. Go, go, go. I think I have enough time to make it through here regardless. Go, 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 go. I have time to kill everything that spawns here. Alright, cool. We're good.
I did it.
Oh, please tell me it's not 30k. There we go.
I did it, Sonic.
Also, when Steam Summer Sale started yesterday, Steam sent me an email, said, hey, 25 games you have on your wish list are on sale. I'm like, what the fuck? And it's a lot. It's pretty much most games that I have on my wish list, and honestly most of them I don't really care to play anymore. They're on my wish list, but I also am not like dying to play them, because most of the time if a game's on my wish list, it means I like it, but I'm not really wanting to play it. If I want to play a game, I just fucking buy it right away. Moving ahead. I can do this stage with my ring farming method and get under 3 minutes, right? I don't remember what my actual timing on this stage is. From the city. Got to live and learn. I like how the very first song in this game, Listen to, also says live and learn. I don't care what lies ahead. Oh god, overshot it. We're okay. I miss. Please tell me this gives me the 800 points. Yes. $45 seconds. That should be enough for this. I don't think I got enough rings to get the perfect bonus, but I'll still try. Should be close. Oh god, don't hit me. I don't think 394 is good enough. It might be though. It legitimately might be. I think 404 is the number on stage 4. Oh, still 424? Really? That's surprising to me.
That was cool.
Alright. Oh yeah, City Escape is like the easiest thing ever for me. I got everything at the final stages, or better. Oh yeah, we'll save all the last stages for another stream. For now, let's go do some Chow racing. Because I have a lot of Chow racing to do. Like my characters being, my Chows being max level is actually good for this because I have 5 races to do per jewel. You might see 4 and think, oh, it's easy. I believe 2, if not 3 more unlock after you beat these 4. This should be the swim one, I believe. Also, this song is technically different to the beginner races. It has a little bit more what's the word? A little bit more instruments involved. Is that his tail or his feet? That's his tail. Yeah, his feet are the 2 things on the left, but I think in the middle that's flailing, that's his tail. Also, technically, if you have enough fly power, you can skip like 2/3 of the swimming portion there. I have a lot more races to do. I will mix them up. That way, actually no, let's just do them all. It don't matter. It's just, I have to do all of them 5 times anyway. Did they evolve yet? They haven't evolved yet. What's pretty funny is you can usually tell which Chow is like the one to watch out for. I don't remember which one it is here. I don't think you can tell until they evolve, but usually there's like one that you could tell. There's like, this is like your rival for the race. I think when they evolve is when you can tell easier. Go, little baby, go! I didn't realize how kind of ugly Hero Swim Cho's feet look like. I guess they're supposed to be flippers, but still, they look kind of ugly. I'm still gaining stamina for doing races. That's a mod, it's not vanilla. Alright, can we tell who's the threat here? They've all evolved for sure now. Which one would it be? 2 looks like it could be. I think it might be 4. 2 or 4. Yeah, I think it's definitely 2 or 4. Go, little baby, go! It's kind of weird how this swimming course has like half running, half swimming. Did I trip? I looked down for a second and I noticed my time was 3 seconds slower than the OG. I think I was right, the number 4 was. I don't think number 2 was though. Also, there's a mod in this game that a cheat code you can add that when you beat a certain race level 5, you unlock a Chao of that particular color. So once I win race 5, I might get an Aquamarine Chao. Oh, it's definitely number 6. You can tell because he has big ass fucking ears. Maybe 8 too, but I think it's number 6. Oh yeah, number 6, he doesn't know how to walk, right? So he's definitely spent all his time swimming. It's kind of crazy. They balance these Chaos in a way that, oh, it's the swim course. This motherfucker's fast swimming, but he doesn't run fast. So it allows you to gain a lead on the run side, even if you're not quite strong enough to beat them on the swim side. Go, little guy, go, run! Did he trip? Why didn't he win? I guess the run speed really made that big of a difference. I think they're all gonna look this weird. I think it's definitely the 3rd one now. Oh yeah, it's that one. Also, like, it's really funny when a Chao does the like Naruto run. Oh yeah, it's the one I'm thinking of. Run, little buddy, run! Flap them little arms. Kick those little feet. I like those grabs. They're very silly. Oh, I still lost my own time. What do I win for this? I think I unlocked Chow World stuff here. Sonic Doll! You got a Sonic Doll! Not a Sonic.exe doll, just a Sonic doll. What's this one? This run power? I think this might be run power. Run or power, one of the two. Wait, no. This has to be fly, because I think the stats go, or the races go in order of like the stats list. So swim is on top. This should be the flying course. The fourth one should be the run course. Also, if you have enough fly power, you can do this one and just go to like where the second arrow Omochao is at. It's kind of crazy. I'm surprised this motherfucker doesn't trip. We got big ass shoes. Handbrake. I am demolishing these guys. I guess it is the first race, not the fifth one. Let's do a challenge race while so we can split up the music a little bit. I like the challenge race music. Look, we're fighting Omochao. Yeah, we got a banger alert. I think this is a run only course. Also, I like the little because it sounds like fucking Goofy. Is it kind of fucked up that Omochao is cheering on Omochao? Boom. Oh no, buddy, stand up. Those big ass feet got to you in the mud. Run! The fuck is that? What is that? Is that a bone or a spanner? It's one of the two. Anyway, jewel raise. from, I think that's from the mod. I don't think that's base game. I don't remember that. While this race is going on, I'm gonna open up a TCG Pocket Pack because the game tells me I can. I got a shiny. Who'd I get? Ooh, Donphan. Donphan EX of all things. Yo, get up! Wake the fuck up, buddy! Get your ass up! Swim, little angel! Swim! I think the challenge race you unlock things for the Chow Garden, the hero race you unlock things for makes sense, the hero garden, and the dark race you unlock things for the dark garden. And the jewel race you unlock things for your character, your specific Chow that wins them. Now they've become Knights Chow, which you might be wondering, why are they Knights Chow? Because that is the neutral flying. Ooh, a couple of them know how to run well. I love the camera angles they use, by the way. Very cinematic. You know what I love about this game, and that I hate about every port of it? You could take your Chows on the go, because the original version, I'm not sure if the Dreamcast one did, but the GameCube version of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle had Sonic Advance 2 connectivity. You could put one of your Chows from Sonic Adventure 2 into Sonic Advance 2's Chow Garden. It was really cool. You could even get special eggs from Sonic Advance 2 that you can't get in base game, which is where like the aquamarine eggs and all the jewel eggs and stuff that I was saying the mod allows you to get for winning race 5 in all of these races. You can just get those in Sonic Advance 2. Ooh, number 8's the scary one. You see those big ass wings? He's terrifying. Motherfucker knows how to fly. Not how to walk, but he knows how to fly. Go! I do wish there was a game about doing just entirely this. It'd be nice. I know there's There's a game that's been like kickstarted that's very similar in nature, but it's probably not going to be the same. I forget what it's called. Something Lings. But like it's been described, it is Chow Garden that you never had, things like that. I'm like, oh, that's a hefty shoes to fill if that's what they're going after. Number 2's the scary one. Look at them big wings. Go! We did it! That's 2 out of like 6. Jewel race is done. It's a broom! It's not to fly with it. They literally broom the floor. Okay. Let's do 1 hero race. Hero race can only be entered by neutral or hero chows. New battle, baby devil. Baby devil. Oh yeah, I like the hero race theme though. Very, very evil. No. Hydrate? Sure. Thanks, Ruby. Get fucked, babies. I'm gonna do more challenge races though, because there's actually 16 of those. We got a piano, and that's for the Hero Garden, I believe. I've never seen anybody use it though. Look, it's the animal challenge. We literally race against the animals that we can pick up. Like, look, legitimately, they're not chows that look like animals. They're just the animals. Two penguins, 3 otters, a cheetah, and a gorilla. You know, I never realized the otters actually have a shell. That's how you can tell they're an otter. Also, you'd think the cheetah would be like a lot faster than the rest of them, because you know it's actually a ground animal. I guess the gorilla too, but you know what I mean. Ow, my back. Blech. Run, buddy, run! Keep running! Fucking make it! Go, go, go! He did it! Why'd you go the crooked way? Aw, the cheetah looks so happy just to be there. We got a bouncy ball! I think that's for... that is for the normal Juggernauts, I believe. You know what? I'll let this guy take a race or two. Haven't used them yet. Horrible cockroach chows. I like how they say they're cockroach chows. The only reason they're cockroach chows is their onyx chows with the dragon horns. Not the dragon horns, the dragon whiskers. Because the only way to get those specific antennas is actually from the dragon. Oh god, it's the brains course. Is he smart enough? I think he's a little stupid. But he's lucky enough. Run, buddy, run! It's gotta be the other half of the brains course, right? Yep, Sonic Doll, there's 5 of them, don't you fucking dare mess up. Oh god, he's not very smart. Please? Okay, I think he's good. You keep hearing the little pop-ups. That's because all the other Sonic Dolls have been chosen already. So the ones that know what the right answer is cannot pick the right answer. So they're like, fuck, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And eventually they just decide after like 5 thinks, like, I'm just gonna fucking pick the wrong answer. Sometimes there's only like two right answers, so if you're not there first, you're fucked. Run, buddy, run. Are you lucky enough to not get killed here? Yes, you are. Good job, buddy. We'll keep doing. We'll probably finish up the second row of the challenge race, and then maybe do one more jewel, and that might be the end of it for now. Oh, my egg! It's literal egg chow. Which I believe this is also not possible in game without a cheat code. It's really silly. They just give like impossible options that you're fighting against. If they trip, do they just explode into eggshells? You guys think that's what happens? Well, one of them tripped. He didn't die. Why are you, buddy? Just go straight. I love the little drum hit. Run! Just make it there under 110. You won't, but make it there. Uh-oh, out of stamina. They're supposed to be clapping, but they can't. They have no hands. They have no hands and they must clap. Be afraid, the skeleton group. It's just Chow with a skull on them. This you can do in game if you just find a skull. I'm one of the people that I don't really like giving my Chow accessories just because, I don't know, I like just the plain look of them. Yes! Oh, this is the full fucking course too. I need to not waste stamina here. Like, this course that I'm doing is the longest course in the game. It also utilizes part of every section. So you have to have good overall stats, not just high in one. Like, we started off with luck and brains, right? The jack in the box, and we had flying and power. Now we're power again, still technically. Then we got swimming coming up, and then it'll be brains again. Then it'll be swimming again. You can still hear them, shaking trees. Sonic Doll! How many are there? 5 again, that's not bad. Oh my god, my guy's not very smart, is he? Is he going the right pace? He's going the right one. Very good. Go! No! You know what? I think I might do one more race and stop. That way the timer ends at a nice even 15 hours. But it's too much of a pain in the ass to remember what to start the timer at. Please? Okay, we're good. There's a little bit of lag in my model right now, I'm sorry. Probably the last race coming up right now, and we'll do challenge. We'll finish up the row. Be afraid, pumpkin group. Do they have different mouths? Or is it always... No, it's all the same. This reminds me of the Digimon. Pumpkinmon. Because that's basically what Pumpkinmon looks like. Like straight up, it's just what it looks like. Like a plush body and pumpkin head. We're good! We're still lucky, baby! Oh, they both tripped in the same frame. Smart guy, go to the very back so you have the shortest run after eating. Ooh, Sonic Doll again. Why is it always Sonic Doll? Is it just the seed we're in? Run, buddy, run! No, buddy, wake up! Are you lucky enough, buddy? Yes, we made it. We survived. But yes, we will make this the last race of the day. You unlock the Jack-up in the box. I think that's a dark garden thing, not a normal garden. All right, I did. Oh my god, they hatched because they broke open. Yeah, so yeah, I did have that little thing. So we got Aquamarine and Topaz? Let me check their stats. We got free babies! They gave us a baby for winning! Baby, let's see your stats. Ew! My guy, you suck! Holy fuck! Make yourself useful, learn something in class. Learn the bell, please. Oh my god, what a disappointment, like actually. Where's my Topaz baby? Get over here, Topaz baby. This is the second time we gifted this up to you. I guess you're lucky, Exploding Goats. Welcome in. Yeah, I don't know. Ew, you're just as bad, but I guess technically better. What the fuck? God, terrible RNG. Get yourself to class. Anyway, we will be finishing up here. Let me stop the timer. Anyway, I guess enjoy the emotes. Yeah. Maybe it's meant to be, I guess so. Yeah. Either way, enjoy the emotes. I gotta sell. Actually, you know what? I want to see what they sell for before I stop. Are they expensive or are they cheap? Usually the eggshells sell for I think half, if not just under half of what the actual egg is meant to cost. Wow. Not bad. Ooh, I get shiny white if I wanted, but nah, we're good. I'm assuming Topaz is probably similar price. I could give this to somebody to wear as a hat, but I'm like, they're better used as currency to buy things. What about you? You're more expensive. You're about 9k for the full egg. Anyway, something here now. Anyway, we'll finish up here actually. Gotta save the child data because again, if you don't save the child data, you do not keep your child data saved. Ready? We'll finish up here. Let's go back to just chatting. Let me put our music back on for a second. Let me turn off my splits. Okay. We will be finishing up right now. Oh, ad break. Anyway, yeah, we'll be finishing up for now. I will probably be taking a day off tomorrow. Mommy, check it. God damn it, Ruby. But yeah, I'm probably gonna take a day off tomorrow. It is my brother's birthday, so I do expect there to be something happening. I have family around, so I'm expecting not to be able to find time and quiet to be able to stream tomorrow. So I think I'll take tomorrow off. Ideas for the art stuff. I'll make the channel for the not safe for work one. But do put your art ideas wherever. But we have that. But I'll try to be back on Sunday. We'll see how it works. I'm going to try, keyword try, to stream Sunday through Friday this coming week. So 6 days just to finish up the subathon. But once Friday hits this coming week, subathon's over. Whatever we unlocked is whatever we unlocked. So since we're at 71 points, we're 29 away from getting everything met. So we have a little bit of a ways to go. But yeah, anyway, we don't gotta do it all at once. Please don't throw money, you guys, if you guys don't have a means to. Is pretty much what I'm trying to say. But thank you guys for all the subs. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for being here. It's been a very quiet day, so I'm glad you guys have been around lurking, just watching me play. We're probably, keyword probably, gonna finish the game next time I stream, unless I stream Sunday, because when I stream Sunday, I might stream a little bit later than usual. But there's a pretty good chance we finish this game in the next like 3 or 4 hour segment that I have for the game. Whether that's Sunday, maybe Monday. And if I finish it, I don't know what I'll do. Maybe I'll do like a Link to the Past randomizer or something. I don't know. You just don't have days off coming up. I'm not just like, yeah, it's good. Yeah, we're good. I know. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying if you guys want to, that's great. It's also on discount right now for 5 and above. So anyway, we got a ways to go. We're working towards Silk Song playthrough, which will be in 9 sub points. But for now, I will be heading offline. I will catch you guys probably Sunday, not guaranteed. But there's a very good chance I come back on Sunday. Okay, I will post a schedule as always, but for the most part, just so you know, I will probably be trying to stream every single day this coming week. Starting Sunday, obviously. So I'll catch you guys hopefully Sunday, if not Monday for sure. Okay, guys, you guys have a good night. Bye. Good night. Have a good weekend. Bye.